Which brings me to my first point, or first myth, which is about the fact that you can control the buyer journey. I think for me, there seems to be a sense maybe of arrogance or misguidance on my part, and certainly something you guys feel here, that when you look at this funnel, whether you've run a lead nurture program in the past, whether you've run a full-blooded B2B campaign or whatever it may be, you could look at this as attract, engage, retain, inspire, whatever it may be. It shows it as a linear path. The way that it's built means that you're going by each step. So you start with your online research, you do your ebooks, you get a lead nurture and a networking event, you do requirement building, you do battle cards, etc. That may be true to a degree in B2C. But actually, Forrester and Gartner have actually predicted that 80% of all the buying process will occur without a human in B2B, right? And yet, in marketing, we're still structuring our sales funnel like this, like we can control the buyer, that we can manipulate them and push them through or shove it down their throat a little bit like the NHS do. But actually, it isn't so. No, a buyer ends up going through something that looks a little bit like this. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because essentially, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in an institution, in an organization, as a group of buyers that you don't see. The stuff that you capture in this thing, you'll be going, okay, online research, we can see your cookie. You downloaded a white paper. You've gone back and done a website, or you've gone to a webinar, whatever it may be. You can capture that. But there's a myriad of things going on in that buyer's world that you can't see. There's loads of stuff that they're doing that you can't capture and measure. They might be going on a Glassdoor review. They'll be going on there, they'll be looking at Glassdoor and going, oh, this individual has not had a great experience with this organization, can I trust them? They'll go on to a forum, a LinkedIn forum or a customer forum, and you'll have a customer who's not really talking very fondly of you, etc. Then you've got all the institutional dynamics going on. You're part of a consortium, a group of buyers, you're getting pressure from the top, pressure from the bottom, whatever it may be, and it just ends up being a mess, a total mess. And I think in marketing, I think we have to be more aware of this and the way that it is. And there's something about the left-hand side being linear and clean and defined, but actually this is reality. So the fact is, the buyer journey is complex. It's non-linear, and it can't be controlled. When you think about the Specsavers story that I shared with you in B2C, we know that when you buy a product or service for yourself, your self-interest is generally well aligned to problem solving at hand, or solving the problem at hand, right? So that story in Specsavers was quick and defined because I knew my problem, they gave me an answer to the problem. But when you go into an institutional setting, it's not true. We've got a fear of regret. We've got a fear of being found out. We've got a fear that gives away to blame, that we want to look for something, a decision that is easy to defend, or one that delivers small incremental improvement in saving your ass, as opposed to what's best for the organization. So I'm going to quote here a guy called Gigerenzer, who's a psychologist, and he talks about this being defensive decision-making. Now I'm going to read this off the prompt here. Defensive decision-making occurs when the decision-maker does not choose the option that is in the best interest of an organization, but instead chooses a less effective but lower risk alternative that protects him or her in case something goes wrong. And that's the dynamic. When I showed you the previous buyer journey, the pain from loss is far greater than the pain from pleasure, right? So effectively, in effect, what we're trying to say is, let's say, for example, you're a doctor or a consultant, yeah? And you've got a patient. They will more often than not refer that patient onto a consultant or to another individual than they would tell them that they need to go home and sort out their own physical health or issues. Even if the stats are telling them that they're probably better off with home remedies or being at home and maybe taking some vitamin D, they won't, because they've got the fear of blame, the fear of culture that it's going to all land on them, it's going to be their asses that get sued. or not. So what I like to call it, and you can see my little jackass over here, it is called arc covering in disguise, right? The more lengthy a process you go to arrive at a decision, the more people involved, the least likely it's going to square on you. So this is looking at the why behind the fact that decision making or the B2B path is not linear.